Hi all, welcome to this FUT 22 Heroes European collection, as it were. So obviously for those that have played in like the Champions League, Europa League and say won it, this is tailored around them. This could fall in line with potentially the road to the final, or just as a separate entity altogether, just to give us a bit more heroes, a bit more fun, and take it from there. So if we could smash likes would be much appreciated, folks. Up to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter @GSTheLegend. All links are down below for posts on the channel and social media links as always. So I've basically gave all the big leagues 2 cards, then like Eredivisie has 2, the Liga NOS has 2, and obviously for Scotland has 2. So it gives a decent amount, and what I've tried to do is focus on leagues that are still in Europe currently as we speak, but also those that have either made a European final as well, or at least the latter generally aimed at those that have made at least a semi or a final, or someone that's been prolific in Europe in some capacity. So like initially, obviously, like I'm fully aware that you're not going to get all of these players. It's just to give you a bit of flavour, as it were. Like Jurgen Klinsmann is the kind of player that could be an icon as well, depending how it obviously played out. But it's like he's there because obviously he's won in Europe, and obviously the ideal dynamic is with the trophy. That is what you're really wanting. At the same time, this is kind of what we kind of thought they might have done with like European content as it is, like giving us stuff like the throwbacks to the old days, as it were. Where it happens or not is a different matter, but as I said, you could even do this as like a collection to say like celebrate this kind of like era, like those that have won like UEFA Cup, when it was the UEFA Cup, Europa League or the Champions League, or when it was European Cup, just to celebrate those kind of players, as it were. Now I'm fully aware ratings wise as well, between 85 and 89 is maybe not the best, but I'm not trying to make them too bad, but I'm not trying to make them too good at the same time. You could make them better if you wish, depending how EA wanted to kind of make them in line with stats, but also their ratings. It would all come down. EA would dictate as they please in this instance, if you know what I mean. Danny Blind, imagine that combination at the back. Danny Blind with his son Daly. That's some throwback combination. Pierre van Hooijdonk definitely would be a very fun card for people that are Celtic supporters. Obviously, your Feyenoord supporters, and when he played in England with Nottingham Forest. So you've kind of got like a few teams that suddenly would be like, oh, past and present, that's what I can run with, and it gives you that bit of throwback and a bit of fun as well. Frank Sauzee, I was not going to not ignore him, because one, he's a Hibs legend, one, he's a Marseille legend, and he has a lot of caps for France as well. He's got like 40 odd caps through like the 80s and the 90s, and he is well regarded, and he's like the kind of, because of what you're trying to do in the game at this stage, you're trying to make the players in line with other alternatives. So that's kind of why he's like in the 80 plus club with obviously 90 physical, because he was physically something else. He fought for everything. So fair play to Sauzee. Juninho, he's going to have high shooting and passing. His free kicks are something else, and he would be definitely someone that would be a good throwback card to look forward to. Mark Wilmots, played with Schalke and infamous in the Bundesliga, so definitely a very could be appealing cam, link up with De Bruyne I suppose, and other options. Gianluca Vialli and Dino Baggio, potentially from a Serie A perspective. Vialli obviously winning European Cup, could be a fun throwback, and he is a legend in general anyway, so I would definitely say worth a shout. Frederick Canute and Guti from a La Liga perspective. maybe doing Guti a little bit of a disservice for stats. Like I suppose you could maybe boost him up to like an 88 or an 89 as well. Canuti's probably 87, 88. Like, he was a very prolific striker in his time in France. We can't Spain even. Sorry, he did obviously be a big part of winning UEFA Cup for Sevilla, kind of as they kind of ran riot for all those years where they've been perennial winners. Hakan Şükür, obviously for Turkey. His one's a bit of a debate, obviously with everything going on just now. So, but I thought got to include someone, and he obviously was prolific in the season that he won it. So fair play to him. Warzichot in Greece, very important striker for Greek football. In Greek football, even though he was a Polish forward, I actually used to have one of his strips back in the day. So, very fun throwback forward. Premier League wise, obviously, Kalou and Dwight York. Ratings are up for debate. Kalou, obviously, you might do higher. Same for Dwight York. But end of the day, it all depends who they do, and like it's just a bit of fun. That's kind of the point of it. It's never going to be perfect. It's just try to have a bit of fun. That's the way to look at it. Yuri Zirkov, as far as it looks, is not long either just retired, or he's also not in like the system, as it were. And he could be someone that you could put in like the 80+ club just for a left back, because he definitely has some shot on him, and he's not too bad defensively. And he was a big part of like CSK Moscow back in the day, and all over Russia, stint in England as well. Herbert Weber of the Austrian League. He's like 90s kind of player, 80s, 90s. You either know him or you don't know him. But that's why we've opted for him. Derlei and Liedson for Liga NOS. Derlei, the season he won UEFA Cup with Porto, he was like the top scorer in the tournament. And Liedson, in his year that he did well with Sporting, was kind of like the same again. So it's like both in their own regards were top scorers, but they weren't necessarily the best of forwards. Their hero was deserving of say like an 85, but they might not necessarily get much more. They might get like a decent shooting boost or whatever, so, and then you might see yourself a Darhov, Taremi or whoever else over them. So I can understand. Petrov and Ferguson for Celtic and Rangers. Stilling Petrov could actually be, in fact, both of them could actually be done just about right for 85s, 86s, and be fun cards for like not just the Scottish League, but just for putting in hybrids with like icons and so forth. Especially if you put like both of them, they've both got viable shouts to be 80+ cards. Same as William Kvist, not long retired by the looks of it, or at least a free agent. Had some not bad cards for like Copenhagen and so forth, and wouldn't be exactly a bad shout actually, but it depends if EA obviously wanted to give like the Danish league some love and attention. Streller of the Swiss league, obviously for Basel he had a very impressive run a number of years ago when it was like Chelsea. They gave Chelsea a good run, and that's kind of what this is inspired off of. And yes, it's not going to be the most amazing card, but it's still going to be try to be tailored to have a bit of fun and at least a bit of recognition to the Swiss league. And then Harold Bratback, I pondered Iverson as well, but I felt Bratback just had more of a return in the Norwegian aspect, and that's kind of where I thought might as well go Bratback and then kind of take it from there. So if you've roughly kept count, you've got 23 cards to kind of maybe whet your appetite with. Where it happens or not is a different matter. It's just a bit of fun. And I thought, well, we've got to kind of give these competitions a bit of attention, like Europa League, UEFA Cup, Champions League, European Cup, and players that won it back in the day. It's probably not too hard to have this kind of suddenly pop up and just a bit of appreciation, but I suppose it's up to EA agreements and where or not do more with the hero cards and obviously the UEFA agreements that they have. But let me know, folks, in the comments what your thoughts are on this. Any of these cards appeal? Smash like always, sub to the channel if you're new, and I'll catch you all later.